Hello, everyone. Looks like there are a few people in the room already. I am really excited to be here. This was kind of a spontaneous thing that I threw together because this comes up all the time. How do I want to have a diversified income stream. I want to create something, but I don't even know what it would be about. So I am here to help you get some clarity on that. Okay? Just want to see where people are as far as choosing their topic. Absolutely no clue. Vague idea. Way too many ideas. That one, someone picked that one right away. I knew that was going to happen. I know you're a group of multi-passionate people and definitely tend to have way more ideas than you even know what to do with. And sometimes zeroing in is the harder task, right? Okay, well, let's go ahead and just jump right in. Welcome to Topics That Transcend. I'm Michelle Risser, and I am a therapist. I'm a consultant, coach, course creator. I love doing a lot of different things. Like so many of you, I am multi-passionate. I believe that having multiple streams of income is the key to having more impact and less burnout for mental health professionals. I'm the creator of the Diversify Your Income with CEUs course, as well as the Therapist Educators Mastermind. And I know a lot of you in here with us today are in those programs. I appreciate you being here. I live in Central Ohio with my family. I row on a rowing team, and I'm obsessed with knitting. Here's what we want to do today, the plan for the workshop. I want to help you identify your true passions and interests. Bring your authentic self into your topic, pinpoint your target audience's needs, brainstorm, narrow down, and clarify your topic, and then the steps that you're going to take to research and validate your topic. So let's take a look at this poll and see where we're at. Okay, so most of you have way too many ideas and don't know how to narrow them down. Well, this is definitely something we'll do today. Some people have only a vague idea, but there's not anybody here who has no idea whatsoever or is already crystal clear on their idea. So you'll need something to write on, and I'm going to have you do a little bit of reflection. So grab a piece of paper and a pen. And the first thing I want you to think about is just do a little brainstorming. What are your interests? What do you like to do? Do you have any hobbies? Is there anything that you're just really interested in? You always want to learn more about? So take a minute and just jot down a few of your interests. Like for me, I mentioned knitting. And I do have a dream of doing more with combining knitting and mental health, but that's something I would put down there. Knitting. Like I said, hobbies, interests. Take a few minutes and write those down. Okay, then think about your passions. So what are the things that are really important to you? What do you stand for? What are your values? What's your mission in life or in your work? What are you passionate about? Jot a few of those down. Whatever comes to mind. And then let's take a look at any specialized training that you may have. Either whether that's in your career, do you have any specialized certifications or specific training or focus areas for your work? How about in your personal life? Is there anything that you've been trained in, studied? Okay, and once you've jotted down a few areas of training, how about areas of expertise? Is there anything that you consider yourself an expert in? And if the first thing that comes to mind is, oh my goodness, I can't think of anything, a question to ask yourself is, what could you teach about right now? Like if I handed over the mic to you and said, give us a 30-minute talk, what could you teach about off the cuff? Because you already are so familiar with the topic. What are the things that you want to be known for clinically? What are those areas of expertise? Jot down a few of those. And then finally, let's take a look at lived experiences. So things that you have been through in your personal life. So experiences, challenges, things you've overcome, aspects of your identity. And hopefully by now, you've got a pretty decent list of things. Interests, passions, specialized training, areas of expertise, and lived experience. So the intersection of these things is going to be where your unique topic is going to come. And I want you to know that only you can teach your topic the way that you can teach it, because it is the combination of your training, your expertise, your interests, passions, and your lived personal experiences. That is what makes you unique and special. And this is why only you are going to be able to teach it the way that you can teach it. And the people who are going to learn from you need to learn it from you. So take a look at those and just start to notice, is there any overlap? Are there any themes that you might notice? Do any of these fall into kind of logical groupings? And I really want to stress the importance of choosing a topic, whether you're going to be creating a course, a training, a digital product, whatever it is. It's important to teach something that you are passionate about, because your passion is going to come through. If you're teaching something that's boring to you, it's going to be hard to get excited about it. It's going to be hard to get other people excited about it. I want you to just brainstorm. They don't have to be good ideas. They don't have to be realistic. Just whatever comes to mind. Just brainstorm 10 potential topics that you could teach about based on those things that you've written down so far. And I'll give you just a couple minutes to do that. Now that you've got some topics, some potential topics down, I want you to think about your target audience. So who is the person that you want to serve? Do you have a niche in mind? Group of people? Who do you want to create this thing for? Think about who that ideal target audience is. It's important to understand who your audience is, what problems they're facing, and what their needs are, so that you can speak directly to them with your topic. So think about who is your audience? Who are they? There are demographics and psychographics. So demographics are things like, age or ethnic background or, where they live, things like that. But then there's also psychographics, which are psychological traits that they may have, that like they're go-getters, or they may be type A personalities, or, things like that, things about their personality or their temperament. Think about who they are, the problems that they're facing. What's keeping them up at night? What are they interested in? So now we're going to start to narrow it down a little bit. Okay, this is a mind map. There are lots of different ways that you can do mind maps. There's no right way to do it. But I like to just start by and take a full sheet of paper, if you've got one handy, and in the middle of the paper, write the word topics and circle it. And then put 4 main branches coming off. And look back at your brainstorm list. Look at your brainstorm list of 10 potential topics, also keeping in mind the things that you thought about when you thought about your audience. And narrow it down to your favorite 4. Now, I don't want you to overthink this, okay? Go with your gut. Which ones sound fun to explore or to teach about? And you're going to put those 4 where on the mind map it says potential topic. Go ahead and put those 4 there. And then from there, you can brainstorm and think about potential subtopics. So kind of offshoots of that. So let's say one of your topics might be EMDR. I'm just thinking of a big, topic. And then a subtopic might be preparation resources within EMDR. So get your 4 big topics and then think of 2 or 3 subtopics for each. And then you should have a nice little mind map that you can go to when you feel like you really don't know where to start. And then if anyone wants to share in the chat, I'd love to hear what's coming up for you as you're doing this process. Is this easy? Are you like, oh yeah, I know exactly what to put down? Is it hard? Is it hard to narrow it down? Let me know what the process is like. Okay, we got a couple of comments here. Feels a little bit hard to organize my thoughts with what could be the most helpful for my intended audience. I don't want to be too broad or too specific. Okay, that's fair. What are you thinking about doing? Are you thinking about a course or a workshop or a digital product or a CEU? Yeah, the mind map is a good way to work through that. You start out by just putting them all down, the broad, the narrow, and then, thinking about your audience, but then also thinking about what format, what is it that you want to create? And would one of those potential topics work better for that? Like what I was thinking was when you said, I don't want to be too broad or too specific. Well, are you creating a gigantic course? And then it could be more broad, or are you creating something smaller? And then you do want to narrow in on very specific. And Jess says, I love mind maps for clarity, and they're fun. They are fun. Anybody else have any comments about that? Okay, so you've got your mind map in front of you. Hopefully you've got some good stuff on there. So now what I want you to do is just look at your mind map. Take a nice breath with me. Let's take a nice slow breath. Thinking back about your passions, the needs of your audience. And Just choose one of the arms of your mind map to start with. Trusting your gut. Which one do you want to start with? Which one seems the most fun? Another thing to think about that I always like to mention is the idea of the lowest hanging fruit. So the lowest hanging fruit for you would be something that, maybe you already have an audience for it. Maybe you're already known for that thing in the community. Maybe people have already reached out to you about this. Maybe you already have opportunities when it comes to this. Maybe you've already started building something out. Maybe you've started creating a course or a digital product. So now with that in mind, what aligns most with your passions, your target audience, and is there one that has more lower hanging fruit on it for you? And then don't overthink it, just circle that one. So you've now narrowed it down to a topic. Your subtopics can be more specific, and maybe those could be different things, or maybe you could put them together as different modules within the same thing. But now that you've narrowed it down, what you'll want to do is do some market research to validate your topic idea. And there are a few different ways you can do this. You can send an email to your list if you have an email list. You could create a Facebook poll. You could do a Google search and see who else is teaching about this, or see how many people are asking questions about it, Googling it. That can be, a lot of people will get discouraged if they go to search and they find that there's a lot available, but often that just means that there's a demand for it and that it's a really good topic that people want to learn about. So don't let that scare you away. If you Google your idea and a lot comes up, that just means it's a really good idea. You can also pre-sell something. So like you could, if you wanted to create a course or a digital product or something, you would just go ahead and sell it or put it out there for sale. Go ahead and let people know about it, do some marketing, and see if anyone signs up for it before you create the thing. So that saves you the work of creating this whole gigantic thing. And you can kind of validate it ahead of time. And then finally, you can just throw it out there. You can just do it and see what happens. There really is no failure when it comes to creating these sorts of things. There's just information. So by putting it out there, that's where you're going to find out, is this marketable? Is it needed? Is it something that people are interested in? Once you have that narrowed down to that one topic, or at least that one arm of your mind map, you're going to want to decide, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier because sometimes it can help you clarify, but if you haven't decided yet, the next thing you'll want to figure out is, what's your format going to be? How are you going to deliver this information? Is this going to be a CEU or a workshop? Maybe it could be a workshop for professionals or even for the lay public, like in the community. It could be an online course, a template, a digital product, a group program, therapy program, a coaching program. How do you want to deliver this information? And then the next thing you'll do, we're kind of going beyond a little bit, beyond choosing your topic, but what do you do next? Create an outline. I always start with an outline, and you can just brainstorm an outline. What are the things that I want to make sure I hit when I'm talking about this topic? What are the most important things I want them to know? Start with the big ideas and then make it more specific. So then once you have your topic, you have your delivery format, you have your outline, and then you build the thing. You create the course, you create the digital product. And then you'll need to market it because you do have to fill this thing, whether it's something free or whether it's something that eventually is a side income source for you, additional income source. You'll need to market it. And like I said, sometimes you can flip those. Sometimes you can market it first to find out if there is a demand and then build the thing. And then you'll need to deliver it. And then rinse and repeat. Every time you want to develop a new thing, just go back to brainstorming your topics, revisiting your passions, reconnecting with your experience and your interests, and then narrowing it down. So what I would love for everyone here to do is to set at least one goal for an action step that you're going to take and a deadline for that. And if you could share those in the chat, that would be wonderful. So set one goal for yourself, something small-ish, something that's realistic to do in the next week or two. So if you wanted to write a book, for example, it wouldn't be, I'm going to write my whole book in a week, obviously, but your goal could be something like outline the first chapter. Now that we've gone through that process and you've done that exercise and you've reflected, hopefully gotten a little clarity, I'm going to go ahead and reset this poll, and I'm going to launch this poll again to see if anybody is at a slightly different place with it. Do you feel like you have a little bit more of an idea than you did when we started? Okay, we've got a goal of narrowing it down by using mind mapping to 1 to 2 topics. That's an incredible goal. And maybe you end up actually teaching about both of those, but you just have to decide which one to start with. Conduct market research within my Facebook community within the next 10 days to determine what resources people may find helpful. Awesome, that's perfect. Finish my list of departments to reach out to in local university and colleges. Great. These are all really good goals. They're all really very clear, very action-oriented. Good. Does anybody else care to share your goal? And we can go ahead and open it up for Q&A. So go ahead and pop your questions into the chat. Anywhere in this process where you feel like you might be stuck, anything that didn't make sense to you, just any questions in general about choosing a topic that maybe I didn't cover. And while you're doing that, I'll pop back over to the poll. Okay, it looks like we moved the needle a little bit. Yay. All right, so we're split evenly in thirds. 1/3 of you have a vague idea. 1/3 of you still have way too many ideas, and that can be sometimes an unintended consequence of the mind map, is you realize you have way too many ideas, and that's okay because you can take this with you after this and continue to narrow it down, thinking about, your passions and interests, but also what your audience needs. You can do some market research to help you narrow it down. And then we have 1/3 who are crystal clear. Yay, that's so awesome. That's so exciting. Good. Creating CEUs. Okay. Yeah. So that is one of the things that I help people with is creating CEUs. I have a mastermind for people who want to go through it live. But I also have an inexpensive self-paced course that takes you through that process. And I actually start a little differently than what some people do. I have you start by deciding which organization you're going to apply through because they have different guidelines. And actually on the topic of topics, they allow different topics depending which one you go through. So one of the things that I have found that's kind of interesting, I love teaching about burnout and compassion fatigue. And there are some of the organizations don't allow burnout as a topic for CEUs. And their rationale is that it's because that is for the benefit of the therapist, and CEUs have to be for the benefit of the client, not for the benefit of the therapist. So one organization that is a lot more forgiving about topics like that is NBCC, which is the National Board of Certified Counselors. And you can get either just a single course, or you can get approved as a provider and offer lots of different courses. So what platform, there are lots of different platforms you can use. You can teach them live over Zoom. You can teach them on demand. You could do something as simple as a private YouTube video link that you email out to people, and then you set up a course evaluation and a post-test and Google Forms. I mean, it could be that simple, up to having a really fancy course platform like Thinkific or Teachable. And as far as which organization, you have your state board, you have other state boards, you have your national organizations like ASWB, NBCC. And one of the things that I do is help people navigate that process of deciding. And my mastermind is right now in week 5, and they can vouch that sometimes just that part of the process takes a while. Have your contacts made decent money on CEUs? Absolutely. Absolutely. So the key, you can make good money on teaching a live CEU. But the key to me is to get them on demand so that you can make passive income. And, with CEUs, you may not be bringing in a fortune, but if you're bringing in $40 or $60 of passive income several times a week, to me, that is a win. So it all depends what your goals are. You can have an enormous company, like a little mini Pessy, the next Pessy, or you could just teach a course every now and then. It's really as big as you want it to be. And I work with people who are going big and want to have really big CEU organizations and host conferences and really grow that. And then I also work with people who are happy to just teach, 1 or 2 courses a year to keep things fresh, give back to the profession, make a little extra income. Tips for building an email list. So a few different things. Some of you, I would wager, I know a lot of you are people that I already know and work with, and you are already kind of in my audience, but I would wager that a couple of you signed up for my email list when you signed up for this training. So this is one way, is you could host a free training and just have people register. They sign up, they go on your email list, but then you always make it really easy to unsubscribe. I have an unsubscribe button at the bottom of every email. And you could also create a freebie, which is a free digital product or guide that people have to provide you with their email address. You can also just ask, does anybody want to be on my email address so I can let you know about my upcoming offers? When I teach CEUs in person, I have a good old clipboard and a piece of paper, and I pass it around. Anybody who wants to be on my email list, join the email list. So those are some ideas for getting started with an email list. If you have a blog, you could collect email lists to let people know when you have a blog update. And I recommend, just exploring some of those options. And if you don't have an email list, just start one. It doesn't need to be huge. There are a lot of free options out there, but you want a way to let people know when you have things available, even if it's just updates for your therapy practice. If you are a therapist, I know not all of you are therapists, but many of you are. If you have your topic, but you don't know where to start, I love $9 courses. Elizabeth Goddard has a $9 course called Small But Mighty $9 Offers. And, you would take your idea and you would just create a small $9 course. And that's really all there is to it. Create it and sell it for $9. If you want to know more about how to do that, You can check on Elizabeth Goddard's website. I do have an affiliate link for her as well, but you can also just find it on her website. That's a fun way to get started with diversified income streams. If you've got a topic in mind but don't know what to do next, what about a $9 mini course? One of my favorite, Elizabeth Goddard, Goddard. She is an online business strategist. Any tips to combat imposter syndrome? Because as you say that, I think, no, I can't do it. Imposter syndrome, one of my favorite things to talk about, one of my favorite topics. Imposter syndrome does not apply to you. You know why? Because if you look up the definition of an imposter in the dictionary, you will find that an imposter is someone who pretends to be someone else. They pretend to provide something that they are not really capable of providing with the intent of manipulating people. So right off the bat, I can tell you with 100% certainty, you're not an imposter. Just the fact that you're asking that question tells me that you're not an imposter. So as you explore this idea of your unique experience, your unique training, remember, you're you. You can't be an imposter if you're you. You're only an imposter if you're pretending to be something or someone else. So yes, imposter syndrome does come up for us anytime we push up against those limits. Anytime we try something new, put ourselves out there in a new way, it's scary. It's, excuse me. It's really scary for everyone. I've been doing this for 3 years now. And every now and then I still have a little imposter syndrome try to sneak up. If I'm doing something new or different that feels scary, but my reset is, am I being me? Am I showing up as myself? Am I speaking from my own experience? Am I teaching about something that I know and that I'm passionate about? And tell your imposter syndrome that it does not apply to you. Your negative thoughts, really, when imposter syndrome sneaks in, what it's trying to do is protect you. It's trying to keep you small and safe and quiet so that you don't put yourself out there to risk, being visible, to risk being judged. The imposter syndrome is like, stay small, stay safe, be quiet. But when you say, I'm going to feel the fear in it and do it anyway, I hear you saying, I don't think you can do it. But you know what? I know you can do it. I have no doubt that you can do it. Every one of you here can do it. Every one of you here has something unique to offer that others need to hear. And so remember that the longer imposter syndrome gets in your way and you say, I can't do it, and you really want to do it, but you're scared to do it and you don't do it, you're keeping that information from the people who need to hear it. So I would encourage you to just feel the fear, do it anyway, do it one little step at a time. I'll send you the slides that I meant to put up. And, I would encourage you to just continue to explore this on your own, continue to brainstorm, continue to mind map, and then narrow down. And once you have that topic, just follow the steps, get the topic narrowed down, get your audience narrowed down. And then what am I going to offer? Is it going to be a $9 offer, or is it going to be a CEU? Or a course, and along the way, you can seek out help and mentorship. I'm available. There are a lot of other really wonderful professionals out there who are available to help. There's a lot of free resources available. So don't hesitate to get the information that you need. And just whatever you do, don't give up. If you run into an obstacle or a roadblock, don't let that stop you. Figure out how to get past it and then take the next step. Okay? All right, everybody. I don't see any more comments coming in. So feel free to reach out to me, email me. I'm going to share my screen one more time here so that I can give you my contact info. All right, just put this up here. The next steps after getting clear on your topic, decide on your delivery format, create an outline, build it, market it, and deliver it. Rinse and repeat. And then I just want to encourage everyone to keep it simple because we love to overcomplicate things. And you don't have to teach every single thing you've ever learned in your whole life. You can just pick one. So here's how you get a hold of me. You can check out my everything page. I've got some of those $9 offers on there. I've also got, my blog, lots of free info on my blog. You can check out my website. You can reach out to me via email to ask for support or to just let me know what you're working on. Okay? All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for putting up with my tech weirdness, and thanks for jumping on here with me. So have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.